Hello, and welcome back to the Performance Improvement video training tutorial series on how to use the Performance Improvement SharePoint template. This is video 6, a tutorial in which we'll briefly describe how to use the Meeting Agendas and Minutes tool. Let's start. First, we'd like to go over how to create a new meeting agenda. In order to do that, on the landing page of the project site, you'll want to navigate to the right-hand web component that says Meeting Agendas and Minutes. Go ahead and click on the black hyperlink. After clicking on the hyperlink, you'll notice that the browser queues and then navigates to the Meeting Agendas and Minutes folder. In this folder, you can see the existing files, if there are any. If you're opening a new template, it's safe to assume that there aren't going to be any files in this folder. In order to create a new agenda, simply click on the New button, allow the browser to queue for one moment, and what it's going to do is actually open a pre-populated template in Microsoft Word for you to fill out. In this case, we're looking at the MedRefill project for the Family Medicine Center. A lot of this information was already populated in regards to title. So what we'll do is go in and change the date. We'll make this for an upcoming event on Friday of this week, and it's going to be at, we'll say 5 p.m. Okay, so now we have the team meeting, where they're meeting, what day they're meeting, and what time they're meeting. We'll kind of quickly go through the template and fill out the other pieces of information, such as the meeting goal. In this case, we'll generically use a meeting goal has team update and data review. And then if you know the attendees prior who you expect to be there, you can fill that information out in the attendees field. Otherwise, you can continue down to the agenda items field and input the topics for the meeting, an estimated time for how long those topics will take, and whom's presenting them. In this case, we will put in a topic generically again of data review. Expect it's 15 minutes. I'll be the individual going through that, and we'll do next steps, and that conversation will take 30 minutes and I'll be the individual leading that. Okay, so having put in that information, we now have an agenda built for our upcoming meeting on the 9th of March. So what I'll do is go ahead and use the Save As icon in the upper left hand corner and save this document into the folder using the same naming convention for all the files. So if this is the first agenda you're creating, you'll want to create a naming convention that's something that easily communicates the team that it is a meeting, the date of the meeting. Since I already have a file in here, I'm just going to navigate and find that file and copy that same naming convention, changing the date to the 9th and saving that file. Okay, see that the file is now saved. I can close the window and allow for SharePoint to refresh for one moment, and what you'll see is that it's going to populate with that file I recently created. So here's the file we recently created. Okay, so let's say that some time has now passed and we're ready to call the meeting and actually use the agenda we built to serve as the minutes of that meeting. So what I'm going to do is navigate back to the landing page, and we'll kind of use that scenario that I just discussed, that we've published the agenda, everyone's informed of why we're meeting, we're actually in the room together, and now we're ready to start recording minutes. So accessing a file that has currently or previously been built, what you'll want to do is from the landing page, navigate over to the Meeting Agendas and Minutes web part, scroll down, find the file for the agenda of the meeting that you're attending, simply click on that link and allow for Word to open that file and to begin editing it, simply click Edit Document and take your attendance. So if Michelle is in attendance, Travis is in attendance, and Rose were in attendance, and mark them all as present, and kind of record the key notes from the meeting. So in the data review, we discussed the data collected from 3/1/2012 to 3/8/2012, and any details about that data. So trend was increasing, or however specific you wish to be. And next steps, team decided to conduct a second survey, or second iteration of data collection. Okay, go ahead and just left justify that. Continue to scroll down to the action items field. This action items field will be populated with the work that comes out of the meeting. So what you're doing is using the agenda items area to record your minutes. In the event that there are action items or work that needs to be done, you go ahead and list those in action items, and we will say an individual needs to build a new data collection template. And that was assigned in the meeting, and it is due, we'll say, by the end of the following week. And that was assigned to Travis, and we'll put a note in there kind of giving some details to Travis as to what the expectation is. And new template in Excel for the team to use during study 2. Okay, so we have our action item that came from that meeting. We'll kind of continue to scroll down and discuss this last component of the agenda and of the minutes, and what that is the meeting parking lot. That's an area to store conversations that kind of occurred during the meeting that necessarily weren't on the agenda calendar or on the schedule. That's something you want to keep track of and not lose as your work continues forward. So we'll put that on here. Maybe a conversation came up on compensating patients to participate in study or something to that extent. Okay. And again, you can be as detailed or as generic as you wish, but again, this is acting as a minutes file now for individuals to go back and review at a later date. So we'll go ahead and save our file. Allow Word for one moment to actually process the file and save it, and go ahead and close the file. And the web browser again will refresh, and what you'll see is that the file has now been updated. I'm going to click on it one more time just so that you see that the file has saved and our modifications have been added to it. Okay, go ahead and close that. And that is basically the information you will need in order to start using the meeting agendas and minutes tool on the SharePoint template. In later videos, we'll discuss how to email the link and actually distribute the agenda.